Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. The long and short of it is Darnell Washington, Calvin Austin becoming threats for Steelers. If they aren't the respective biggest and smallest offensive skill position players in the NFL, each is close to it. The long and the short of it is Darnell Washington and Calvin Austin III are evolving into significant pieces of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. After relatively little usage in the passing game in 2023 while each was playing in the NFL for the first time, Washington and Austin are increasingly favored targets, particularly since Russell Wilson took over as quarterback 6 weeks ago. Over the past 5 games, the diminutive but speedy Austin and the towering, imposing Washington have combined for 21 catches on 34 targets, 314 receiving yards and 3 total touchdowns. While those statistics aren't necessarily eye-popping, they do correlate with the numbers 3 to 4 receiving options for a team that has known quantities in WR1 George Pickens and a bona fide number 1 tight end in Pat Freiermuth, but has been struggling to find other weapons. Washington and Austin were just behind Pickens and Freiermuth for receptions each, with 3 receptions apiece during the Steelers' most recent outing, a 24-19 defeat at the Cleveland Browns. Austin led the team in receiving yards, 78, including a 46-yard third down play and a 23-yard touchdown catch that gave the Steelers a fourth-quarter lead. "He just did a great job of getting open," Wilson said of the 46-yard catch after the game. "He did a great job of just really making a play. Then I think the one for the touchdown, I knew how to get the ball off. They were about to hit me, and I just had to let it go down the middle to Calvin. He did a great job and just threw it and anticipated where he was going to be. He made a heck of a catch, heck of a route, and that was awesome." Over the past 5 games, the Steelers won 4, Austin leads the team in touchdowns with 3. Though that includes a 73-yard punt return TD against the New York Giants, Austin's 2 receiving touchdowns are tied with Pickens for the most over that stretch. For the season, including a 55-yard touchdown from Justin Fields in Week 4, Austin's 3 receiving touchdowns are tied with Freiermuth for most on the team. Coach Mike Tomlin always talks about guys who can create space in a non-vertical area, wide receivers coach Zach Azzanni said recently. "Who is that player on every team? And Austin is our guy that way. He does a great job of that. That's his gift, that's what he was blessed with, that twitch and that awareness on how to work individuals." Generously listed at 5'9", 162 pounds, Austin requires gifts such as quickness and special awareness. But if Austin creates space, as Azzanni calls it, non-vertically, Washington has a rare ability to create space vertically, as in, literally so. His official listing of 6'7", 264 pounds probably doesn't do him justice. Steelers tight ends coach Alfredo Roberts recently was speaking about Washington when he said, "You don't expect a guy who is 6'7" and 300 plus, oh. I said that out loud? No joke, it would almost take 2 Austins to make for the mass of 1 Washington. He's a big man, and yet he's shown receiving ability. In practice, he's shown it in training camp that he can be consistent in the passing game," Roberts said. "So it makes it easy for the play caller to get it off the call sheet. He's done it early in games, and he's rewarded us with some big plays." Nicknamed Mount, Washington had his first career touchdown earlier this season in Denver, and he's recorded a pair of receptions of at least 25 yards while making 11 catches in 5 games with Wilson throwing. Consider that Washington had only 7 receptions last year as a rookie. Austin, in his first pro season on the field, 2022 was spent on injured reserve, had only 12 catches. He and Washington each already have blown past career highs in catches and yards. Each a mid-round draft pick, Austin and Washington entered the league with unique skill sets, speed and size, respectively, but observers wondered if Austin was too small and Washington, well, too big to be viable receiving threats. The contrast between them couldn't be greater, and perhaps that's part of what Wilson and coordinator Arthur Smith are leveraging in deploying Washington and Austin more often. It builds my confidence getting the ball in my hands and getting more comfortable with it, Washington said. Because at this level I didn't really have that many opportunities, so I feel like each catch it keeps building my confidence as a person with the ball in my hands and run after. NFL rumors, Steelers insider shares intriguing take on drafting SEC quarterback. After the Pittsburgh Steelers added Justin Fields and Russell Wilson this offseason, it was apparent there was a short-term plan in place for the position. However, NFL draft analyst Matt Miller dropped a mock draft recently, predicting a possible change at quarterback next season for the Steelers. Conflicting Miller's mock draft, NFL insider Mark Kaboly shot down the rumor in his Steelers mailbag on Monday when asked if next year's quarterback is on the roster already. "Yeah, it's Russell Wilson and Kyle Allen will be his backup," Kaboly wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter. "Now, they aren't drafting Jalen Milroe, so forget about that." So, while Miller believes there's a chance the Steelers select the Alabama quarterback in this year's draft, Kaboly didn't mince words in his 20-question mailbag. After things didn't go well between Wilson and the Denver Broncos following a decade with the Seattle Seahawks, the Steelers took a chance on the 35-year-old, signing him to a one-year deal this offseason. Along with trading for Justin Fields from the Chicago Bears, the Steelers patched their need for a quarterback. Well, for the 2024 season, that is. Following this season, both of their quarterback additions are set to hit free agency. But, according to Kaboly's mailbag, it appears Wilson will be receiving his second contract with the Steelers this upcoming offseason. Fields was Pittsburgh's quarterback until Week 6, then Wilson returned from his calf injury and was given the shot to battle for the starting position. It was a move that many questioned the head coach's decision, but with Wilson leading the Steelers to a 4-1 record, it appears Tomlin made the correct decision. In Wilson's 5 starts for the Steelers, he's completed 63.1% of his passes, throwing for 1,212 yards, 7 touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions. So, while Wilson's most recent go with the Broncos was a failed experiment, his time with the Steelers appears to be their not-so-short-term fix at quarterback. Whether this comes to fruition will likely remain unknown until the conclusion of the 2025 NFL Draft. Coaches tend to be very secretive about their intentions in the draft, and for good reason. But, Kaboly was quite confident in his mailbag about what the Steelers are doing at the quarterback position next season. Cam Newton speaks up and defends Steelers WR George Pickens. It feels like Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver George Pickens makes headlines for negative reasons on a weekly basis. This week, it comes off of his post-game scrum with Cleveland Browns cornerback Greg Newsome after the final play of the game that saw Russell Wilson launch a Hail Mary to the end zone. Pickens was also fined following the Steelers' win over the Washington Commanders for slamming defensive back Mike Sainristil to the ground. Speaking on First Take, former NFL MVP Cam Newton came to the defense of Pickens and explained why every team needs someone like him. "He's a crash-out," Newton said. "We love him. He's the dog on the team." "Is he fake tough?" "No, he's a dog, official dog. When I look at the health of a healthy team, there are certain things that you need. You need guys like George Pickens. They're the quote-unquote very talented, rebellious guys that give you that grit, that toughness. So the thing about that is you can't have too many George Pickens on your team because it's going to make it undisciplined. You need just a great mixture of crash-outs or rebellious guys and choir boys." Pickens is having the best year of his career, ranking 3rd in receiving yards entering the Sunday slate of action. As long as he continues to produce and his teammates love him, his antics will be more than tolerated. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Cam Newton? Leave your opinion in the comments.